Hello and welcome to Master Edison Format. This is a channel for you to get better at Edison, learn how to win more games. And today we have kind of a different type of video. I kind of wanted to make just an intuitive guide for how to rank up kind of as fast as possible in DuelingBook. Not to say that this is everyone's goal, there is a lot of kind of toxicity and how to say, just annoyance of playing on DuelingBook, because you do run into more inexperienced players who don't understand the rulings. Sometimes you run into players who are so stubborn about ruling things that it just kind of ruins your day. But there is some merit to trying to win and rank up, and kind of it is for sure some measure of just skill in the game. If you can, it just means that you're winning more games than you're losing, and at the end of the day, you do see that the players in the top 10 of kind of in the top of the ranking are generally good players. Not all of them, are the best players, are winning tournaments necessarily, but a lot of them are definitely good players, at least for this level. And I kind of wanted to make a quick guide and kind of go step by step of my just very kind of logical advice for if you're looking to rank up and you want to do it quickly. The first thing I would say is that you have to play one of the best decks. You can try, if you have your homebrew or something, you can play with that. You will win some games, you lose some games, but unless you want to be stuck kind of grinding forever, you want to play a deck that has a very high win percentage. So I will recommend either Value Turbo, Blackwing, or Hero Frog. If you're very good with Frog or TK, that's a great option as well. Or Frog or TK or Fogs, I definitely recommend that. But me personally, I've played all of these. I've tried all of these. I haven't tried Frog or TK so much, but at the end of the day, I'm most experienced in Value Turbo, and kind of that's the second advice I would give you, is that master one deck, focus on one deck, pick a deck that you like to play, and kind of just get as much reps with it as possible. Try to become the best you can with that deck, and don't switch between too many decks too often, because what ends up happening is that you do miss sometimes lines that you would have found otherwise, and you're gonna run into players who, especially as you get higher and higher, who are more experienced with that deck, with their deck, and you might run into trouble. The other thing I will say is that you generally want to choose a fast deck, meaning an aggressive deck that can close out games quickly. Because, for example, Hero Frog is a good deck, and you probably win, a good, probably most of your games, or a good percent of your games. The problem with that deck is that the games that you win generally take a very long time, and at the end of the day, this is a game of volume. You just need to play lots of games and win lots of them, and that's how you're gonna get to the top of the ranking. If it takes you, let's say, to win a game 1 hour, where someone else or with another deck it would take you half an hour or 45 minutes, you should choose a deck that's just faster, because then you get to play more games, you get to climb up the ranking faster, and so on. Because at the end of the day, you get points for wins. You don't get points for how long the game lasted, or how beautiful, or how impressive the win was. A win is a win, is kind of the expression. And so I would say generally pick something aggressive, and that's why I like Value Turbo. There are some grind games and some solo games, but this deck has the potential of just closing out the game very quickly. And the same with the deck like Blackwing. I think Blackwing is a good deck here as well. Because it's both aggressive and you do have answers to a lot of things. And the other thing is that when choosing a deck, of course, try to choose something that has a good match against the most popular decks on DuelingBook. And for example, here, this is the list of value that I've been playing. And in general, I would say all the top decks are top decks because they have decent enough matchup against each other, and they beat a lot of the other random decks. And for me personally, one of the toughest matchups I have is Gladiator Beasts. I have to say that in general, I have a lot of trouble beating that deck. Partly just because I don't have a ton of reps against it. I definitely need to improve in that matchup, but also just because the deck is quite annoying. Let's say you leave an Armageddon Knight or a Trooper on the field, and they get to attack, and then they start going to Bestiary, start popping stuff. Or let's say you leave a Raiko on the field set, then they can go into the kids area. So it just always feels like they have it, in a sense. In the matchups I run into them, always feels like I'm kind of running into their very good draws, but that's not always the case. I think part of it, you just need to get more reps and get more experience playing that deck. And so this is the kind of the list of value I've been playing. I've took a lot of inspiration from the Scissor 41. I cut a Caius, cut a Hamster, and added a Solemn Judgment. The rest of the deck I think is pretty much the same. The side I think is slightly changed as well. I'm testing out this Needle Sealing. I think this is good in a lot of situations. Good against Froggle TK, not that you run into it that much here. Good against, in general, decks that spam the board, like Lightsworn, this should be quite good against. It's good against GBs. If they've already done the whole combo, like your pressure, it's not going to be that good, but this might. So yeah, I think this definitely has some play, some has some potential. And then in general, the rest of the deck I think is quite standard. Yeah, it is, at the end of the day, it is the deck, my go-to deck, and it is the deck I have most success with in general. And so we're going to go into some replays and see kind of what I'm talking about in the games, and kind of going on to like the next, how to say, advice. And you want to find you play in a situation where you kind of you're focused and you're not distracted. And I think sometimes when I lose games is because I'm the recording and I'm like I have something like I'm kind of trying to talk through my plays and all that, and sometimes it does distract me, doesn't allow me to think clearly, makes me take longer to make my plays and so on. And so in general, you want to make sure you have how to say, a peaceful surrounding, like you're in a good state of mind, because I mean that's what also happens if you play too long too, like, and you lose multiple games. You might go into a little bit of a, how to say, like a spiral. You might get demotivated. And at the end of the day, the main thing I want to say is that you just want to enjoy the game, have fun, try to focus if you're really trying to win, and just try to play to do your best. A lot of things I would say is that trust your leads, because a lot of times there are things that you technically are correct, or there's a lot of decisions, and that's what's kind of beautiful about this game, about Yu-Gi-Oh in general, is that your decisions matter a lot. And in general, I would say trust your leads. A lot of times, like, you're gonna run into a situation, for example, you feel like that they have goals, maybe they shouldn't, or I think in generally speaking, like, you just trust your leads, and just that way you kind of see if you have the right instinct. And then what's also really useful is watching your replays after the game, seeing where you made mistakes, seeing where you could have played better. The last thing I will show, and I'm very transparent with this, like, I'm not extremely high ranked here, just so you know. I'm, I guess, decently ranked. I am overall like a winning player, more or less. Like, I win most of the games I play, especially with Value Turbo. I lost a few recently, but like I can go, on like 6 wins in a row. What happened to me, I did reach at one point a 800, I think 41 was my peak, and like I won a ton of games. I don't know if all of these was value. Might have been a few different decks. Might have been, I think I played Raras for a little bit, like, but generally speaking, I win. Like, I mean, this is also against sometimes like really bad opponents. But what happened here is I tried a new Dark World Quick Draw deck, which, to say the least, is not good. And I just was very stubborn. I was trying to make it work. I kept changing things, trying to fix it, and overall I just lost a ton of games in a row. And so I went down from about 840 to 600 something. But anyway, I'm back to around 700 something now. But let's go into some replays and see kind of some of the better games I had recently. The first replay we're playing against 3 anyway, just a whole string of numbers. He's on frogs. I'm not remember exactly. From the scapegoat makes me think that it's Dream Frogs or Plasma. Anyway, we get dash shooted, of course. We have the charge into the Raikou. But here I decide to get a little bit tricky. I know he has swap, he showed me, and if I just set the Raikou, he's just gonna summon this swap attack, and basically I trade my Raikou for maybe a Deep Prison or nothing. And so I decide to go for kind of a little bit of tricky play, go for Gardener. Also, if he would have tried to go into like an aggressive Monarch play, he would have banished the Gardener instead of a Raikou, so I don't hate that. Here he decides to Regeki break here. I probably should have set the value, I mean, of course I didn't know he had the Regeki break, but trying to kind of read his state of mind. I could have tricked him again by setting a value, and that would have been quite a good trade. But yeah, anyway, having said that, we go into Armageddon, I go into Catastrophe. try to start doing some damage. Against frogs, you really want to get aggressive. Like, they do have some back row. Like he playing Deep Prison is surprising. Not everybody plays that, but he has some back row. But you kind of, if you play the wrong game, this deck is gonna beat you. Like, they have so many monarchs. They have this 3-bone coming back. They have the swaps bouncing stuff constantly. Yeah, you really want to kind of play more aggressively. Here we get to drop the goals. He bounces his own plasma back. I don't know if I love that play, but anyway, because it basically allows me to do all of this, and we go into the unwing, do a good amount of damage, and set. He top decks Kaius, nothing too surprising there. Attacks with the Kaius into the Armageddon. Top decks Miracle. Also kind of unfortunate, and here's like I would like to open like a short episode of like everybody hates on Value Turbo for good top decks, and it does happen because you play a ton of great top decks in this deck. Like Chaos Sorcerer is a good top deck. I mean, Dark Arm is a good top deck. So, but every deck can have its lucky top deck. So that's just something. Don't hate on the deck. Just it just, how to say, variance sometimes will come back. But yeah, he top decks into Future Fusion, which is game because he can summon the plasma from hand using the dandy tokens. So not really too much to say there. We go for Greffer into Garna into Vayu. I like this play a lot because if you can protect the Greffer thanks to this Garna, you can basically pitch with the Greffer again, and we do have the Plague Spreader here in hand, so you can get a lot of value from this. So this is quite a good way to start. He decides, of course, to Geki break this Greffer because he doesn't want me to get extra value here. And yeah, we go for the Armwig, start doing damage. He has 3-bone Engrave. Of course, he has a Kaius, he can out everything here. I believe we have the Garna, yeah, so we use the Garna, summon the Plague, go into Goyo, steal this Kaius. And we basically take his Monarch. Now he goes into the Dupe Rock. I believe, yeah, this is kind of not unfortunate, it's kind of annoying, but we do have the Plague Spreader. We can basically, we can out the Dupe Rock. I mean, this was already face up. Yeah, he gets to add with the Dupe, and yeah, we have the Foster Dyna for his goals. So, I mean, I side in Foster Dyna, side in Oppression in this matchup. I keep in the deck heavy, so we do have a ton of things that are really good. Here we have a very trap heavy lineup. Yeah, he has just a Deep Prison, which setting Deep Prison turn 1 against Value Turbo, I believe, is a mistake. Because that one of my most common turn 1 plays is Raiko. So here he MSTs and he hits Suppression. I held this Dashut hoping. Also here, actually, very interesting situation. Here I held the Dashut hoping that he would MST it, but when he MST the Oppression, I should have chained this Dashut. I know about the swap in hand. What I didn't think he would do, and that was very, very smart by him, is that he knows about the Raiko thanks to a charge. So very smart, but he uses a swap, and I can't chain I can't chain Dashut to swap effect because it's not an effect, it's just an inherent summon. And so this swap thing basically puts him on under 4 cards, and now I can't use Dashut again. And this was a big, very, very big mistake by me, not using Dashut chain to MST, because he basically plays around it. And I was asking him, because I didn't remember if it was inherent or not, if it started a chain, if I could use Dashut, but basically, big mistake by me. He gets to Kaius, and that puts us at a big disadvantage for basically the whole game. We also, we have another Oppression, so we can, 3 Suppression to substitute. We save the Stupor from the Kaius, and now we can go into Unwing, go into Sirocco to attack the Kaius. He has the Prison, and he has another Monarch. We take a good amount of damage. We have this Dashut, which looks completely terrible here now. We get to go into the Armor Master, attack over. He still has his hero there. Top decks Stratos, just for a change. And we get attacked over. We're down to 1200. We top deck a Gale, which is quite a good top deck here. And now here's where, again, like, you'll see at the end of this game, he kind of gets a little bit salty. Like, he top decks Miracle, so like, you can't tell me that these are not good top deck. I mean, we have the Oppression, so that's what makes Miracle not a good top deck. But like, otherwise, like, I don't know what I don't know how, like, you expect, how you expect to I mean, if we didn't have the oppression, this would be an amazing top deck here, because you can miracle into the absolute zero and attack over. I mean, like, that would be a nightmare. And anyway, yeah, so this is the typical reaction every time YouTuber wins a game, is because we basically top deck good stuff. And like, we do the graph work. I mean, we had some good top decks there, I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, he also drew Stratos under deck Devi. Like, both of us had quite a good hand. But anyway, this was the first replay. We beat Frogs, which again, one of the better decks. This is, I think, it's Dream Frog or some type of, like, yeah, Dream Frog. I don't love this list. I think Hero Frog, just like the typical Hero Frog, is just strictly better than this. But anyway, into the next replay, and this was against Mongjurio. This was a kind of a crazy replay because I really hate playing against GBs. Yeah, we start with the Raikou, and he attacks with this with the Quester into the Raikou. If you look at his hand, this is what you would call, like, in I guess in poker, this is what you would call, or I guess in any game, the nuts. Like, he has the Rescue Cat into Test Tiger, into Call of the Hunted for the Rescue Cat, into Dashwood, Strapstone. Like, I mean, he has, basically, he's gonna cook me this game. Like, there's nothing really I can do here. We saw with the Greyford, I sent the Gardener as, like, some protection, but, like, really nothing I can do. Here, I try to bottomless both of these. He has a Trapstone, of course. He has the Chain Call, get both Test Tiger, get both of these back. This pops. Equestria adds, like, basically we are already down 3 cards against basically 6. I mean, the card of the Haunted is like a dead card. We summon the Gorgs, but like the Gorgs in this match doesn't do anything. He banishes, he pops. Yeah, like the Gorgs, I guess I should have Gardener, would have been better, but like Gorgs doesn't do anything. We're going to Goyo attack. He has the Mirror Force, of course. Luckily we had this Cow Sorcerer, and the only saving grace in all this is that he didn't have an out to Cow Sorcerer somehow. He had a handful of monsters, I mean, he did have 3 traps and he used them all, but like this Cow Sorcerer basically, yeah, stars him for a little bit, but of course he goes into Gizerius again. I have to Gardener because I don't know what nasty thing this is going to bring back. We top deck the Prison luckily, and yeah, with this Sirocco again, like, he doesn't have an out to the Sirocco. He draws a Dashwood, which is not good. He has all these monsters which keeps on setting. And yeah, I decide to deep prison here, and this Raikou, I'm gonna keep the Raikou set, because of course if I flip it, then he can summon attack the Raikou and then just do nasty stuff. Keep sending monsters, and yeah, in the end he decides to Torrential, because we never used anything, and so we go for the Roller, go for Armageddon Knight. This is almost game. He has 100 left, and we put the deck Devi. Here, unfortunately, attacks over, goes for the Darius. I'm gonna chain the deck Devi. I don't want him to go into Gizerius, because then we can't really we don't really have an out for it. We bottomless, and that's gonna be game. I don't know how we won this game. We were down to basically 1 Cow Sorcerer against like 5 cards, and we still won the game. He has a pretty good hand here. Like, I mean, I don't really agree with saying double compose. Like, he has a lot of well, not pretty good. Like, it's not actually not a great hand. It's a very defensive hand. He has MST, double compose for each Solemn. I understand you have Solemn, so you can set everything, but I just feel like you don't really need to. I don't think you're gonna need 2 compulsory on turn 1 against Bio Turbo. I just don't think you do. Here he MSTs, okay. Composes the Raikou. Kind of annoying, gets to do his thing, goes into a quarry. Yeah, we top deck heavy, which is good, but I mean, he has Judgment. Honestly, if I was him, I don't think I would have Judgment. I mean, Judgmenting makes sense, but I think he could have just composed his own quarry. Like, if he really was worried about it, composing a quarry would have been better, and just not take 8,000 damage. But yeah, he decided, because he even has Test Tiger, why would you not just do that? But anyway, we go for Greffer, so he's mashings. We have the Gardener in the grave. We go for Trooper to attack. He's down to 400. He does have Compose though, so here he goes for this. We have the Gardener. He decides to go into a quarry with the Test Tiger. I guess this is the biggest monster he has, so he doesn't die. We go for Sirocco. We go for Houndwig. He has Compulsory. We basically have the Oppression. That's all we have. Take the damage, doesn't use the effect. I don't know if he's actually playing out the pressure, or he just didn't need to use effect because this can't bring itself back. But Anyway, we have this Gale, which is good, and Call of the Haunted, we have Oppression. He top decks, and I thought this was going to be game. After this open, I'm like, okay, it's game. I don't know what he's drawing. He top decked basically the only card that was going to prolong this game was the Consecrated Rite. And then he starts drawing Dust Tornado, the third Compulsory, which against my deck is quite good. I have to set this Armageddon, I flip it, get to send. He has to compose because I can go into Black Rose and he can negate it. And yeah, I set the Armageddon again. He doesn't have a way to stop the Black Rose from coming down. And I have the Judgment as protection, and I can summon the Chaos Sorcerer for game. And yeah. That was kind of a crazy game against Gladiator Beasts. I mean, I'm gonna say I think some of the decisions could have been different, and I don't know if he always plays Gladiator Beasts or anything, but this is one of the tougher matchups I run into with this deck, and I'm glad, once in a while I do get to win it as well. In the next replay, we can play against Palmito on some Fairy Sky Coach deck. Goes for basically we attack into this. So here actually, just a moment before we go, this kind of is going a little bit too fast. I decided to go for Sirocco. I was expecting, I don't know what he's playing. He has a monster set. I was expecting him to have some type of Raikou, some type of hamster or something like that. And I was expecting more Raikou. And so into a set monster, I generally don't like setting my own Raikou, because if his Raikou pops my Raikou, then we're sad. If I go for Armageddon Knight, it makes sense, but with Armageddon Knight, usually you want to send the Gardener or the Plague Spreader, and I have both in hand, and I also have value in hand, so this is just, everything's not great here, and so I decided to go for a Sirocco, and we run into this Nova Summoner, which brings a Herald, and now he goes for Brio bounces, he has the Christian, gets the Herald back. He also has Honest in hand, by the way. So there's basically basically no outs. I mean, I don't think I have a single. I guess the only thing that could be out is a Brain Control, but I guess that would be the only out. But I think that's actually the only out in the deck. Anyway, here he starts. He has double charge into double recharge as. He plays both Raira and the Raikou, so it's a Christia's one. He has a Decree set, that's something to keep in mind. Here we go for Brio. I have Dark Arm in hand, so I'm trying to set up this Dark Arm plate. I decide to go for this, to go for a ton of damage. He does have the Tragoedia, but we get to attack over and do basically a ton of damage here. He also has Brain Control. I mean, he's, we have also the Oppression for protection, but he has. This Brain Control can do a ton of things, so he takes the Brio puts this to Exilec, attacks over the Gear, and then he's gonna bounce also itself, and then he tries to go for Chaos Sorcerer. If I was him, I would go for Chaos Sorcerer first, and then Brio, but anyway, it doesn't matter, he was gonna be dead anyway. He has Raikou, and so that's what I mean about setting into the Raikou. Here I'm expecting him to have, again, because I did see the Raikou before, I'm expecting the first set to have to be a Raikou this time, not to be the monster. And so I do set a monster, and I said, he's expecting this to be a Raikou as well, so I decided to set the hamster to be a bit tricky, and I set a trap behind. And I'm hoping he's gonna basically, that's exactly what happens is what I was hoping for. I was hoping with his Raikou he would pop behind, and then he would try to attack my Raikou, so I basically have to waste it on his own Raikou after it's used the effect. But luckily he runs into the hamster, and the hamster does a good amount of damage, and then we get to flip our own Raikou. We go for Gale here, start doing good amount of damage. He has Double Claw, Honest, and Monster Incarnation. We go for Catastor. Catastor is one of the best cards against just right decks in general, because it plays around Honest, basically can kill the Christia, can kill basically almost every monster he has in that deck. Goes for this, he gets a Kaios back. Here is where I make a little bit of mistake. I did notice that there are 4 Fairy in the grave, but I just decided that the Christia was going to be able to answer with Milforce or Raikou. And so we take some damage here. We go for the Card Trooper, and we set everything. We Mirror Force the Christia. He summons this, but Card Trooper can mirror, this can pop, and now we can go into basically another prey. We have the Armring, we have the Sirocco, We have the Prague. Yeah, he quit. There's no chance of him surviving. He's on 1000. The only thing he can hope is that I don't play around Honest, which I was going to with, or I guess, yeah, I was going to play around Honest with the, what do you call it, the Dark End Dragon, or I could have played around it with, in a number of different, I do also have return set, so like there was no chance he was going to survive this turn. And yeah, that was again a good win against Palmito, against basically Lightsworn Fairy. And at the end of the day, just to kind of quickly recap, you need to play a good deck, you need to learn how to play this deck quite well, you need to get as much volume in, you need to play generally a fast deck, or I would advise playing a fast deck. Just play a lot of games and win, have a high win percentage. That's really it. And this will help you become a better Edison player, because in the process of kind of ranking up, you're gonna get more experience, you're gonna play more games, play more matchups, learn what decks, what cards work and don't work in your deck. In my deck specifically, Value, I tried all kinds of different things. I tried the Silver 41 Value, I tried all kinds of different things. I tried, the version with the Lyra, I tried Shura, I tried Icarus, I tried Legacy of Yata in the main, I tried Upstart, I tried, I think just about any card that makes sense. I tried My Body as a Shield in the main. I really tried a lot of things that could work. I tried Reckless Greed, I tried, cutting the Sorcerer, putting two Carriers, cutting, basically just about everything you could think of. I tried, and so at the end of the day, kind of after all these attempts, I ended up going back to this simply because I think this is like pretty standard like cookie cutter list, and I'm sure there's ways to innovate. There's many things you can do, but at the end of the day, this I think is a version that, at least for me, works most consistently, and you kind of have to figure out for yourself, what works for you, what type of deck you like to play, and yeah, what do you want to include in your list, and kind of also that's also the fun process of playing these games. You get to test out your deck, you get to try new ideas. You don't always have to play with exactly the same list. Of course, at some point, if you're really dedicated to win, you want to optimize, try to play with the best possible list without trying too many things. But yeah, that's kind of my conclusion. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to get better at Edison, and I'll catch you in the next one.